Hey, what's going on, guys? Andrew here, back at you with day 14 of the 31 days of Halloween. As you can see beside me here, I got the Friday the 13th marathon is on AMC today. You know, it's like I've seen them a million times and I own all of them, but it's just still kind of like, I don't know why, it's just still just kind of fun to, you know, watch them on AMC. I think tomorrow's the Nightmare on Elm Street marathon, so they got all of them playing. But yeah, still just fun. It's like, you know, horror movies are on TV, so it's like you know, it just gets you excited, you know. Yeah. So as you guys heard yesterday, last night I watched Lords of Salem, and today I'm reviewing it. Now, I think you guys might remember this, but this is actually the steelbook of it. You can pretty much get this if you're in the U.S. I think you can get this pretty much at any Target. I see them at every Target that I go to, whether it's here in Chicago or in Pennsylvania. So yeah. Sorry, my mouth is really dry for some reason. But yeah, so this is probably, I think, the 4th time that I've watched this movie. I understand it has like a 5.1 on IMDb or something like that. It's definitely like very divided. A lot of zombies later movies after his first two, which are House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, which I'm actually buying this month, so I think. So I'm pretty sure I will be, you know, getting those in here very soon. Yeah, after those, I think basically all of his movies, you know, including the, you know, his Halloween movies, have definitely been like mixed, very mixed, even among his fans of his movies. You know, Halloween 1 was like, everybody was either like they enjoyed the reimagining tale of it, or they really hated it, they thought he ruined it. In Halloween 2, they just either, you know, thought it was a good story, or they just really hated it because it was so unlike a Halloween movie. You know, and Lords of Salem is definitely one of those ones where it's definitely it's a witch movie, but it's like it's a definitely a very unique one, to say the least. Now, a brief synopsis of this. Basically, it's Sherry Moon Zombie. She is pretty much in this movie the entire, every scene she's almost in, I think. Basically, it's a story of her, and she's a radio DJ in actual Salem. And FYI, a little trivia is that it was actually shot in Salem, Massachusetts. So that is really cool that Zombie was able to film there. But basically, it tells the story of her. And I don't know if there's really that much of a plot. Basically, one day they received this this tape that basically, or this record that basically plays this sound that you find out later in the movie was the witch's call, or like a witch's, like I don't know, like their tune or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. But it was their song that they used to, I think, to call their people, or to recognize that this was their group. If that's how I'm understanding it correctly, I'm not sure, but that's how I understood it. And basically, when this plays, all of the women in Salem that are listening to it basically fall into this trance. And Sherry Moon Zombie kind of, like, you know, meets these people, her landlord and these other people, and they're all really, really weird. You can definitely tell they have something to hide, and it's kind of a downward spiral from there. Now, I will give a little bit of a spoiler, but it shouldn't be much of a spoiler, because I'm referencing, because Rob Zombie calls this his like, maybe, like, his references a couple times. He has kind of called this a spiritual prequel to his Halloween series, to basically Laurie's character in the Halloween series. So basically, if you've seen Halloween 2, you know how this one ends as well. Now, I will say this much. Now, this is, I would definitely classify this as an art film. So pretty much, what's going on, I want to say, now I can't guarantee this, but I want to say this movie has a lot going on in terms of symbolism, in terms of, you know, like what's going on the surface and what he's really talking about. I think two different things, and I think what he's talking about, I think I got it. Now I kind of think that I got this from a reviewer last night, but I also kind of saw it a couple times in the plot and definitely saw some of the things. Now, the main plot of this has to deal with witches and this call in Salem and the witches that are still in Salem, and basically their call to Sherry Moon's character to basically come join their, you know, their coven. And that's kind of the main story. But I think underneath of it, I think what this movie was talking about was her drug addiction. It opens up, I think, in the first 15 minutes of the movie where she's in NA, and you don't really get answer as to what it was, whether it was cocaine or whether it was heroin or whether it was LSD or something like that. I want to assume that it was probably heroin, but that's just going off of some of the things. Like, it seemed like a very like a lot of the scenes and stuff definitely seemed to have to do with either like some like very, very powerful drug, and some of the different references throughout the movie definitely have to deal with that. Now, the reason why I think that is also is because about halfway through the movie, she kind of has this moment where it seems like it definitely seems like it's a relapse moment if you're looking at it through that eyes. They're on that dock, and the one guy's talking to her. You can tell that the guy that definitely likes her, and he's pretty much like, you know, concerned with her and saying, "Good, I don't want to have to go through this again." And you can definitely see it's like almost like he thinks that she's relapsing, and and pretty much, you know, through the other half of the movie, you know, she wakes up in sweat, and it's like, it's almost like this call to, like, this coven doubles as the drug junkie group who will protect their people at all costs and kill people who try to get people away from the group. That's just kind of my take. Now, you can't really prove that necessarily because it's an art film. Now, I can say that, like, it does seem to point to that way. So if you think of the movie with those things in mind, it kind of opens up some things a little bit. It definitely makes the ending a lot less like, what the hell is happening? And it definitely kind of makes more sense. Because definitely at the end, like, spoiler, like, I get, this isn't really a spoiler because I kind of already gave it away, but, like, it's, like, definitely, like, a really weird thing. But, like, at the end, there's all these weird imagery of all of these, like, witches who, wearing no clothes, just walking towards the camera very slowly with this, like, demon-looking thing in the middle of them. And then there's all these, like, these faceless, I mean, you want to say they're like demons or whatever they are, and they're just masturbating, like, and you can definitely tell it's fake and stuff, but it's definitely disturbing. But it definitely doubles as like when you're giving into your bad desires, because I mean, the scenery is definitely disturbing. When you're giving into your harmful desires, it definitely, like, and it takes over you, and that's kind of like my own take on it. But I think I want to say that's what he's going, but again, like I said, art film, can't really prove it. But I mean, as for like the actual parts, I thought the acting was really well. And if you're not a fan of like Rob Zombie's like white trash people, this is his least white trash people of any movie that I've seen and any movie I've heard of. Because I know that his first two movies definitely have it, and his Halloweens definitely have the white trash characters. This definitely is like the least of all of them. Yeah, they're not as like as extreme, or like you can barely even notice it throughout the movie. So I do recommend you watch it if you're not a fan of that and you want a little less of that. You don't get it completely wiped out in this movie, but it still is less there. The thing that really stands out for me in the terms of like actual filmmaking, the cinematography is incredible. I think this is his best made film, and I definitely think his use of colors. And another guy reminded me of this in the message board, but it definitely reminded me of Suspiria. There's a lot of times when there's a lot of red used throughout the film, and red color, like the red neon lights, and even the green neon lights and stuff. There's a lot of red and green used throughout this movie that is kind of reminiscent. Even the score, when it plays throughout the movie, kind of is reminiscent of Suspiria. So I think that those are, I think Rob kind of got some of his, some of his, what do you want to call it? I can't, some of his, like, influence to make this film from Suspiria, because it definitely has the witch plot, and it has, like, a lot of the color scheme isn't necessarily the same, and they're not used as often, but the use of colors is definitely prevalent in this movie like it is in Suspiria. Now, this one definitely has a more grindhouse, like, feel to it than Suspiria. That doesn't really have, that has definitely more of the, just high art and not necessarily low art and grindhouse art, but still an art film type movie. So yeah, I still liked it. I mean, overall, I do really enjoy this film. I think that it's definitely his most unique film, and I also think that it's definitely his most atmospheric and scary film. Because there's just some parts that I'm like, holy shit, like I'm like creeped out by the imagery that he's showing on the screen. But yeah, so if I were to rate this, I'd give this like a 7.5 out of 10. And like any of the negatives that I could say about the film, again, like, his characters are never the greatest. They're always not as interesting as they should be, but these ones are more interesting than your normal characters. So yeah, if I were to give a negative, that would probably be it. Yeah, that might be the only thing, because I really do like some of the things that he does with the story in here. So yeah, I do enjoy this. I do recommend this. It actually feels really like a fall film. It's about 100 minutes long, so if you can fit this in, I do recommend to check this out. The Blu-ray doesn't look as good as like as any other Blu-rays, because he uses a different he uses a camera that definitely has a grindhouse feel. It doesn't really transfer well onto Blu-ray, but still, I do recommend checking it out and getting it on Blu-ray. I have this. It was only like 12 bucks at Target, so yeah, that's going to do it for that review. Now, really cool thing that I get to do. I live in Chicago, which, by the way, if anybody else wants to do anything wants to join me, feel free to let me know with this. In Chicago, there's a place that shows horror movies every single day of the month for October. Tonight's movie, Friday nights, I kind of leave open for things like this and whatever else. tonight they're playing Night of the Living Dead. So this week I get to see that movie. Next week I get to see The Exorcist. The week after that I get to see the Halloween, the original Halloween. So like all of my, you know, some of my favorite films, I mean all three of those films are in my top 50, and you know, Exorcist is tied for my first. So, you know, tonight I get to see Night of the Living Dead on the big screen. So that ought to be an interesting experience. So that'll be what I'm reviewing tomorrow, Night of the Living Dead. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing that in theaters. It should be a very, very interesting watch to see how much different it feels on the big screen. So thanks guys for tuning in. As always, please like it and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And let me know what you think of the Lords of Salem. I know it's definitely a loved or hated movie, so let me know your own personal thoughts on it. But yeah, anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. Catch you tomorrow with Night of the Living Dead.